Welcome back. Let's now take a look at another big story that dominated the headlines today as political strategist Prashant Kishor's latest round of talks with the Congress party on changing the 137-year-old grand old party's decrepit fortunes have now fallen through. Kishor isn't joining the party. As per sources, while the 45-year-old wanted a free hand to bring in sweeping changes to the party and playing the role of a disruptor, the Congress leadership ultimately found itself wary of a complete overhaul, preferring incremental changes instead. So it wasn't Telangana, it wasn't ideology. It was just not about letting go of the party reins after all. To discuss more on this, I'm now joined on the broadcast by Mr. Gokul Chandran, who's a political analyst, and also joining me on the broadcast is Mr. Sridhar Reddy, who's the spokesperson of the TRS. I'll begin with you, Mr. Chandran. What do you make of this decision by Mr. Prashant Kishor?
Yeah, good evening, Griha. The problem with Prashant Kishor is he's a very good mechanic. He puts back the car in a very good way, but he wants to drive the car and own the car. That's the problem with Prashant Kishor. See, take the case of history of Prashant Kishor. Tell me one political party which Prashant Kishor has brought into power. He has brought people to power. He made Modi the Prime Minister, Stalin the Chief Minister, Jagan the Chief Minister. But he doesn't have that. He has not yet proved that capability of bringing a political party into power. Here also with Congress party, what he needed was the entire control of the Congress party, which is very difficult. See, Congress party is not a regional party or someone like BJP, which is relatively a new party, so that the entire reign can be given to an outsider. The other thing is that how much can you trust Mr. Prashant Kishor? He was told to sever the ties with TRS and join the party instead of staying outside and giving all these advices and directions. He was asked to join the party and be a part of the team and help the party grow. But he wants to stay outside. He wants to do business with Congress party. At the same time, he wants to do business with parties like TRS and YSRCP, etc. It is not acceptable for any political party, and that might be the reason why Mrs. Sonia Gandhi has put her foot down strongly and firmly, saying that no, if you want to join the party, you can join. Otherwise, let us leave it here. So Mr. Prashant Kishor doesn't want to join the party, but he wants to take the reins of the party by staying outside.
All right. And Mr. Ravula Sridhar Reddy, there was an ample conjecture about, Telangana being a cause and why, Mr. Kishor is not going to be joining the Congress party. After all, it just looks like that isn't the reason.
No, I don't know. Even after the consultation process was happening, he came to us. He met our chief minister. His team was in discussion with us. But actually, IPAC has nothing to do with Prashant Kishor. And it's been a long discussion. We heard in the past 2 years, it's been happening with Congress party that he wanted to join as a national organizing secretary. Then they denied. Then there was a gap in between. Then again, there was discussions. Today's Congress party is a confused lot. They don't know what's happening in their party because they lost the credibility. Cadre lost the faith in the leadership, and especially in Telangana, even a group of senior leaders are working against Gandhis also. So the committee which they have formed, whether PK has to join them or not, is a big joke actually. The same old guys. What decision will they be making it? Even in Telangana, if you look at it, the PCC president of Congress party, Ravula Reddy, is not accepted by their leadership. So here also, see, I don't know whether it's a reason or not, it's up to the Congress party to speak. We have nothing to comment on that. But at the same time, if you look at the Congress party state of affairs in Telangana, it's very pathetic, poor, and people have no faith. They are not in a position to show them as an alternative. So all these things would have made them to take a decision. But end of the day, it's up to Congress and PK to answer this.
Griha, can I come in?
Okay. And, Mr. Chandran, what do you make of this argument of Mr. Reddy's? Because we've also heard Mr. Ramarao yesterday talk about the Congress party really not having any significance whatsoever in the political sphere as of now. So what do you have to say about the kind of future that Congress really is looking at? Because TRS says that it doesn't have any.
Yeah, Griha. See, to Mr. Reddy and Mr. Ramarao, I want to ask something. If you're so much confident and if you feel Congress is nowhere in the picture, well, you have to bring in Prashant Kishor from all the way from Delhi. You are employing Prashant Kishor to run the show and handing over the party to Prashant Kishor, and you are talking about the Congress party, and that Congress party doesn't have ground support or the leaders are not popular. But then in your case, you are so much confident you can win the election so that you are bringing in Prashant Kishor and handing over the reins of the party to Prashant Kishor. What is this? If you are so confident, that you can win the election, you have the people's support, you get away with Prashant Kishor. You fight on your own and try to win the election.
I would like to answer Chandran. Mr. Chandran,
Okay,
actually,
Mr. Chandran, I'll ask a counter question to that, because I'd not let you guys engage on the broadcast. Yeah, I wanted to understand, there is so much being said about this being egg on Congress's face. The fact that they had called in Prashant Kishor, there was ample deliberations that were being done, and this time this was not behind closed doors, because Mrs. Gandhi really put it out there in the open for the senior leaderships to also know. There were people who were not really very happy about the induction of Mr. Prashant Kishor. So that really also happened. What does it say about the Congress party?
Yeah, Griha, see, it is the party versus an individual called Prashant Kishor. Prashant Kishor laid few terms. Congress party also took few steps towards Prashant Kishor, and everything was well till there were some demands which the Congress party couldn't accept from Mr. Prashant Kishor. So there was a deadlock. Mr. Prashant Kishor wanted those. His main focus was getting to that point. He wanted to get into the crux of the party, and he wanted to control the whole party like he's controlling the TRS party. Today, in TRS party, each and every decision is taken after being consulted with Prashant Kishor. So Prashant Kishor wanted something in Congress also, the same amount of clout within Congress party, which the Congress party is refusing to give, and Congress leaders are refusing to accept those demands. But it is very genuine.
Is that right,
isn't
Mr. Reddy? Have the reins been given solely to Prashant Kishor when it comes to the TRS?
No. This is a wrong understanding. It's a myth, basically. Honorable CM knows him for the last 7-8 years, and Prashant has a very large understanding about the country's political affairs. It is only about exchanging the views and the issues around. It is not completely we have given over everything to Prashant Kishor. Currently, we are signed with IPAC, not with Prashant, and IPAC is an independent and professional organization. At the same time, he was asking us, when you are a strong political force, why you wanted to hire somebody? Yes, TRS party is a very strong political force. 100% we are going to form the next government. At the same time, after working for 8 years, a government, the development and the welfare agenda of the government has to very strongly get into the public. We need new strategies. Definitely, a third party might help us to do better in taking the development and a welfare agenda to the public. Whatever we have done in the past 8 years, that is the only thing. But it is completely, every decision is taken only by Prashant Kishor, and we are implementing it. We have a strong leader at the helm of the affairs, our Honorable CM, who is the leader of our agitation. You know that the Telangana was possible only with KCR. So he's a very strong leader, and Prashant and other team might help us to certain extent. Today it is only IPAC with us, and later course we'll see.
All right. Mr. Chandran and Mr. Reddy, thank you so much. We'll leave it at that. In fact, I'd like my viewers to also remember that Prashant Kishor had tweeted out that cryptic note on his Twitter account where he, in fact, had called out Congress's need to hold on to the leadership, and which is why he had to not go ahead and take on that position in the party. So that's something that is for you to decide.